The old village of Dariba lay at the edge of a silent forest where stories whispered through the leaves like ghosts of the past. Children were warned not to wander far, and elders often spoke of a hidden treasure buried inside the ruins of Dariba fort, a treasure said to be cursed. Among the villagers lived Raman, a young man whose heart beat not for wisdom, kindness, or peace, but only for wealth. Raman dreamt of owning lands, gold, and luxuries. Every night he stared at the crumbling outline of the ancient fort and imagined himself as the richest man in the country. One evening, while the village gathered around a bonfire to hear stories, the oldest man, Baba Hayat, shared a tale. Long ago, he began, a king hid immense treasure in Dariba fort during a great war, jewels that could blind your eyes and gold that could fill rivers. But greed destroyed his kingdom. He cursed his treasure so that anyone who sought it with a greedy heart would lose everything. The villagers shivered, but Raman felt something else, hunger burning like fire inside him. That night, as the moon hung like a silver blade in the sky, Raman packed a small bag, grabbed a lantern, and walked toward the fort. His mother pleaded with him to stay home, reminded him of the curse, but his desire washed away every warning. The closer he moved toward the fort, the colder the wind became. Shadows from broken walls looked like hands trying to pull him back, but Raman pressed forward, whispering to himself, "Only cowards believe in curses. I will be rich." Inside the fort, silence wrapped around him. His lantern flickered, casting long, trembling shadows. As he walked through the main hall, he noticed something strange. The walls were covered in beautiful paintings, untouched by time. Jewels were embedded in the stone pillars. Chests lay open, but empty. It was as if the treasure had vanished. Raman clenched his fists. "Where is it? Where is the gold?" Then he saw it. A narrow staircase leading underground. Dust lifted with each step he took. A giant wooden door stood at the bottom, carved with warnings. "Enter only with a pure heart. Greed will be your destroyer." Raman laughed. "Fairy tales won't stop me." He pushed the door open. Inside, the underground chamber glittered like a dream. Piles of gold coins rose like mountains. Jewels sparkled like stars fallen to the earth. Silver cups, diamond-studded crowns, emerald necklaces. The treasure outshone everything he had ever imagined. His eyes burned with excitement. His breath quickened. "I am rich!" he shouted, diving his hands into a pile of gold. But the moment he touched the treasure, he felt the ground tremble. A deep voice echoed across the chamber. "Greed has awakened the curse!" Before he could react, the treasure began to swirl like a whirlpool. Gold coins turned into sand and slipped through his fingers. A force pulled him toward the center of the room. Raman tried to run, but his legs felt heavy. The jewels melted like wax, forming shapes of grotesque faces with hollow eyes. Terrified, Raman screamed, "Stop! I just wanted to be wealthy!" The voice thundered. "The greedy are never satisfied. You came for everything, now everything will be taken from you." A blinding light filled the room. Raman felt himself falling further and further into an endless dark pit. Then silence. When he opened his eyes, he was outside the fort. At first he felt relieved, thinking he had escaped. But when he tried to get up, he realized something horrifying. He couldn't move his legs. The curse had taken away his ability to walk. He screamed for help, and 2 shepherd boys rushed him back to the village. The villagers listened to his broken, frightened tale. His mother wept. Baba Hayat only shook his head sorrowfully. For years we warned you. Greed blinds a person until they lose what they already have." Raman wanted to argue, but his voice caught in his throat. Deep inside, he knew it was true. From that day on, Raman lived relying on others. The once proud young man now watched the world from a wooden cot under a neem tree. The treasure never returned, and neither did the strength in his legs. But something changed within him. He started teaching children about the dangers of greed. He helped the poor with whatever he had. He spent his days advising young men not to make the mistakes he did. His heart, once filled with hunger for riches, slowly filled with wisdom. The villagers grew to love him for the person he had become, gentle, thoughtful, and humble. Years passed. Raman grew old, his hair turning white like moonlight. One cool evening, as he sat under the neem tree, a boy asked him, "Uncle, do you still want the treasure?" Raman smiled softly. "I found the real treasure. Peace. And peace comes only when you let go of greed." That night, as he closed his eyes for the final time, the wind carried his last whisper. "Greed is a curse, but wisdom is a blessing." And the people of Dariba never forgot the lesson written on the ruins of the fort, spoken by a man who had learned it the hardest way.